Hey everybody! Today's video I just wanted to talk about Dumpling, my senior black pug who is 14 years old. I've been wanting to make this video talking strictly about him and his story and how I got him and just a couple of things about his health issues and what we're doing to manage it and take care of him, his everyday life. And yeah, so as you've probably seen in some videos, Dumpling already, you know what he looks like, but here he is. He's taking a little snooze, a little morning snooze. He's very content. He had his breakfast and he got to see my mom, who he loves so much, and he got to hang out with the other pugs downstairs. But Dumpling is very special to me. He is my second black pug. I got Ruby first. She's almost 3 now, which is crazy. But he is very special to me because he is like the first real dog that I ever adopted. Ruby is technically the first dog that I ever owned. Me and Andrew own her together, but we got her from a breeder, which no hate, no judging whatsoever. My other dogs are from breeders, and I guess technically we kind of turned into a breeder, but we kept the babies and it was an accident, but whatever. Not gonna get into all that in detail at the moment, but not against it, bottom line. I just probably wouldn't do it again. I love Ruby. I love the other pugs to death.
So on the left here we have Ruby, and then we have Luna, Leo behind her, and then Dexter and Penelope.
And I don't judge other people who do it, but after working in a shelter, I definitely wouldn't get from a breeder ever again. And I mean, I've rescued in the past. We rescued our beagle back in, I think it was 2010, yeah, a long time ago.
So this is Caesar, our beagle that we had adopted in 2010. This is one of my favorite photos of him dressed as Underdog.
It's sad. And then when you actually work in a shelter and see the conditions and how badly all these dogs need homes, and it's just a terrible situation. I definitely wouldn't get from a breeder again because of Dumpling. He just totally changed my thoughts and the way my just everything. I can't even put it into words. He just changed my life, and he is so very special to me and my family and the other pugs. They took him in right away. That's just the good thing about pugs. They are so accepting, and they love everybody, and they don't care how old you are, what you look like. They took him in right away. But yeah, so going back to what I was saying, he is my first, I guess, dog I ever adopted, because he's under my name. And yeah, I would do it all over again, and I wouldn't if anybody said hey, you want this dog, it's a senior, yep. I love senior dogs. I love senior pugs especially. There is just something about them that's just so different from the puppies and the young adults, and they just really tug on my heartstrings, and I know a lot of people feel the same way. And yeah, I would do it all over again. So I got Dumpling in 2023. I was working at a shelter for at least, I want to say 6 months at that point, maybe a little more. There was no pugs in the shelter whatsoever. A lot of it was Chihuahuas and pit bulls and just a bunch of other dogs that were not pugs at all. And I remember the manager at the time, who went to rescue the dogs, he knew how much of a pug lover I was. And he was like, hey, we're getting a black pug in. And I was like, what? You know, like, I was totally like, wow, like, it's so hard to get black pugs. And that's like the main reason why I actually got Ruby, because I wanted a black pug, and I was searching shelters and rescues, and it's so hard to get a black pug, and there's like really no pug rescues nearby. I live on Long Island, New York, so it's hard to find a pug, honestly, unless you get it from a breeder, or you have to travel to other states. I mean, I've driven by car, you know, to Delaware, to Rhode Island, but that's different, you know, that's those states are like fairly close to New York. That's why originally I got Luna, my first pug, back in 2015, 2016. So when the dog program manager at the shelter I used to work at said, like, you know, we're getting a black pug, and I was like, what? I remember I really couldn't see him at first. Like, I think they got him in like September, and then I didn't see him for a little while after that. Like, I remember seeing him through a cage in like the quarantine building. Oh my god. Like, I fell in love immediately because I love pugs. A couple of weeks pass and they tell me, okay, he's out of quarantine, you know, he's not sick. And like, we had this thing at the shelter where we were allowed to hang out with the dogs, like, in the office. So I was a dog adoption counselor. So we had a dog adoption office, and that's where we would primarily be. And we were allowed to bring dogs in from the kennels into the office and socialize with them and spend time with them, you know, because the kennel is not an ideal environment for the dogs. Yeah. Actually able to also bring them on car rides to go. There was a local Starbucks, and we can go bring them to get pup cups, or sometimes they would bring the dogs home for sleepovers just so they can get out of the kennel for a couple of nights and, you know, feel the human connection and feel some love, because some of these dogs would sit in the shelters forever. So yeah, I finally saw him. I was able to spend time with him because he wasn't sickly. But even when, like, I finally was able to see him, he was, like, not well. I thought he was blind, to be quite honest. I didn't know anything about him. And the story goes that he came from another shelter, because a lot of the times they would rescue dogs from other shelters. So they advised me not to ask, like, the shelter they got him from what his story was. It's just like, if I'm adopting a dog, I want to know every single detail. And I think a lot of people feel that way too. Because when you go to adopt an animal, at least at the shelter I used to work at, they want your whole life story. They will look you up. They will search every in and out about you and your family. They will look up pictures of your home. Like, it's crazy. They said he was a stray. So you're telling me this guy right here is a stray? He was a stray. He barely was able to walk. He barely was able to see. You're telling me this elderly pug was walking the streets and he was just a stray? I don't think so. He would have got hit by a car. He would have gotten attacked by another animal. No, absolutely not. He was not a stray. I don't know what the story is. I will never know what the story is. I'm assuming that one of two things. I mean, you know, there could be so many possibilities, but one of two things that I try to make peace with is, okay, maybe the person who owned him, they passed away, you know, and the family members couldn't take care of the dog. And then the other reason is somebody just dumped him because he's old and he's obviously got issues. Now, the further years I have him, the more years I have him, he's got a lot of issues. And it's hard. It's really hard. So not that I sympathize with people dumping their dogs, but I know it's hard when your dog is old and sick and has issues, and it's very financially taxing. But I would never in a million years give up my dog. Or another possibility is maybe they were moving and they couldn't have a dog. I don't know. Either way, I can't imagine, but whatever happened, I'm so grateful it happened because he's mine. He's mine, and he's snoring so peacefully, so loved. Oh, hi. Look how handsome he is. He's so loved, and he's so cared for, and he is just such a special boy. Like, I wish I knew him in his younger years. I wish I could have seen him, you know, at his full potential, running around and, you know, just biting on toys and jumping on and off of couches and, you know, just normal dog behavior. You know, I don't know if the people who had him ever really gave him love. I don't know, you know, I just want him to have the best years, whatever is left of his life. And I know that the last 2 years that I've had him, he has gotten so much love and so much attention, and he will never feel that pain of being abandoned and left alone again. Also, I don't know how old he really is. So I say 14 because I'm going off, you know, by what they told me. They said he was 11 when he came in. So I'm just rounding up. Okay, he turned 12, 13, 14. I'm just saying he's 14 because, you know, that's kind of what he looks like, and I'll never really know. But you know what? It's almost 2026, so I'm saying he's 14. Because pugs, if you know, they are lap dogs. They are Velcro dogs. They need human contact. They need to be with somebody all the time. And they love laying on top of you or being by your feet, sitting on your feet. Just, they have to touch you. They have to know you're there. They have to feel your warmth. They have to feel your love. They have to hear you. They know. You know? They don't like to be alone. Pugs are not loners. He's with me, and he's sleeping. He's so comfortable. Finally, he was put on the board to be adopted, and people would come in to come see him. Not many people. You know, it's very hard getting a senior adopted, let alone a pug who's got a ton of issues. So he's got dry eye, which is like the, it's when their tear ducts don't produce, tears anymore, basically. So I don't know if they were treating him in the shelter with that medication. I was never given any medication for his eyes. So, I didn't really start to know everything until I went to an actual vet after I adopted him. But going back to the month that he was up for adoption, people would come in, people are like, you know, like, he's probably gonna die in, you know, very soon. And I'm like, I legitimately got a phone call, and one of my friends are a witness, as they were there. And this lady was like, how old is he? So I said 11. And she was like, oh my God, he's gonna die soon. What? Who says that? Who says that about anything? Anybody? What if I was like, how old is your mom? Oh my God, she's 90. She's gonna die. She's gonna die soon. Like, people are crazy. I can't. I can go on and on. But I'm getting comfy. I'm comfy. But, yeah. So, whatever. Nobody came to adopt him. And finally, the program manager was like, Gina, do you want him? Are you serious? And I was like, yes. Like, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but my whole family was on board with it. And Yeah, so December 11th, 2023, I brought Dumpling home for good. I had brought him home back in November of that year for like a sleepover. I gave him a bath. I needed him. I mean, I already had so many pugs. Like, he was my sixth. He's my sixth pug. Still have 6. And yeah, I fell in love. I needed him. So now it's been 2 years together. December 11th of this year, 2025, will mark 2 years since I officially adopted him, legally adopted him, and brought him home. And the love, and I'm like getting teary-eyed and emotional, but just seeing him, like, his health increase and get so much better, and him really open up and be happy and be able to be a dog in a home that loves him, especially with other pugs. It's amazing. It was so worth it, even though he has financially like killed me in so many ways, but I don't even care. Like, that's why I have a job. That's why I go to work, to make money, to spend the money, you know? Like, we don't work to just hold on to our money, you know? So I would do it all over again. But he has the dry eyes, and he has an enlarged prostate, which the vets were thinking it's because he was neutered later in life. Like, again, he was neutered at 11 years old. So it could be why. I don't know if it's still enlarged. The last scan he got was in 2024. I'm not putting him through all this torture, you know, to get scans and MRIs and whatever they do for dogs. And he's got this, like, honking cough. He's had it this whole time, ever since I got him. He obviously has breathing problems. His nose is super smushed in, as you could see. Hey, sorry. Don't want to bother him. But yeah, so the vet doesn't know what that is. We've tried so many medications. Like, so many medications. And this last one that I tried, I'm gonna butcher the name, but theophylline. It's supposed to open up his airways, and I think it definitely helped big time. But the biggest problem with that is it made him anxious and restless and just, like, not happy. It definitely helped, but the side effects are not the best. He didn't react to it the greatest, but I actually have to bring him back to the vet soon. I have to make an appointment to say this worked. Maybe we can get him an inhaler. But yeah, over the last couple months, we have been dealing with his breathing getting worse. So we suspect it's a collapsed trachea, which is a common theme in pugs, common health issue, I should say. And it can be treated and fixed, but he's too old. I would never put him into surgery for anything, you know. So the biggest thing is just making sure he's comfortable for whatever rest of days, years, months he's got. And that's really about it. He's very special, and I just love him so much. And, you know, there's this thought and feeling of, like, impending doom that I keep having, especially because this past year, which I will make a whole video about, Dexter, my 9-year-old fawn pug, who I got from Rhode Island from a breeder, which I will get into, he almost died this past year. So it's just been a crazy year for me and my family and my dogs. So just that thought of impending doom, of like, I know they're gonna pass away one day. I know I'm not gonna have them one day. You know? It's just hard. Like, why do I think this way? Why do I have to feel this way? Why am I thinking ahead so far like that? And I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I think it's because I have a huge heart. And I love these dogs so much, and they are my everyday life. Like, I love them more than people. I rather be with them than people. I rather stay home all day than go to work and be with people I don't like and hang out with people I don't like. I just rather talk to them. I'd rather hang out with them and do things with them. Yeah, I am not a loner, but at the same time, I'd rather be with my dogs. I just love them so much. I love animals so much. And that's why I just am trying to do as much as possible to make as much money as possible so I can make them comfortable, I can be comfortable, and maybe one day I won't have to work jobs that I'm away from my dogs. Maybe I could be with them and that's my work. That's what I want to do. I'm trying to figure it out. I know I'm young and have time, but yeah, so enough about me. But yeah, I just wanted to give a bit of a story about him, and he will be the star as long as we still have him, because he's a very special boy.